Hi team, so this is the Trello board that we came up with. So as you can see, we will be having one board for each department, and we will also have one board for major clients. Austin here, we have one Trello board for his personal brand, and CEO Austin for all the fast social related documents, approvals, any cards that is related for fast social that needs to uh, have his attention. We also have library wherein we will be putting all the the cheat sheets, templates, guides, everything, all the important documents will be in this library because it will be a lot easier for us if we have all the documents in one place. Then onboarding board, this is for the 14-day pre-employment. This will be put on public wherein they can just access that specific board alone and they will not be able to move any cards. Team huddles, wherein we can put all the minutes for the daily meetings and our individual or per department boards. So each department will have a team guide, task, and roadblock list and two lists for each person, one for work in progress and one for completed. So now let's start with the process. In a client's board, we will be mainly using labels, color-coded labels, in checking or knowing what are the cards that are still pending and it's or urgent and transferred to another department or collaborating with other department. So we have two types of labels. One for the owner point of view or the owner of the card and the team member who you will be collaborating with. So as for me, who will be the owner of a specific card, I will be using the labels with in charge, all these three. And if you're going to collaborate with a team member, that specific team member will be using the assigned team label with by assigned team, with assigned team, to assigned team, and by assigned team. So now let's start. For example, we have client 1 wants to have a Instagram posting or code card posting as her project with us. So our VA will be before we will onboard our VA. We will be giving her all the needed documents and guides to use for that specific client. So with that project, we will be needing a code card checklist or code card guide. So here you can see there's guides and there's checklists. Because for the guide card, all the step-by-step information will be here, but then we will be integrating the checklist within this guide so that it will not be a hassle for us moving back and forth the cards every time we need to collaborate with our team members. So this specific checklist that we have inside the guide is located in the checklist list. So there will also be a future use in separating each checklist because as you can see, uh, we divided here the checklists inside the guide per department, so VAs and graphics. So soon, once a separate department have or have a new team member, they will need their own personal checklist to forward to their team member within the group, so that it will not be confusing for their new team member what are the specific tasks that they will need to focus on. So let's continue on giving this specific guide to our VA. So we'll be putting this on client's board under the guides list. There you go. So you can see we have a label here as guide and blue as a checklist. So once we inform the VA that we already provided all the guide for her project or for her task, he can then they can then copy this specific guide to the Instagram list. So for the client board, we will have a list for all reports and updates, a list for guides, a list for pending for review from the client, whatever the project is, one list for that, and one list for posted, and one list for archive. So let's start with Instagram posting. So before we start with the main checklist, we need to follow first the instructions or on the description. So change the date on step 1. So we'll be changing this to 21/04/17. Step 2, add necessary members on this card. So we'll be adding Austin, Reg, Roy, Isa, and of course the client. Once it's done, put pending label once you started on this task. So as previously discussed, pending in charge, for revision in charge, urgent in charge, anything that has in charge on the label means we are the only person as the owner of the card can use these labels. So I will put this as pending. And deadline must be set. So we'll put here deadline and save. So now we can start with the main checklist. So we can go over and tick the boxes. Now here's the part where we are going to collab with our team member. So tag the team member who will be doing the code card. So we will go straight directly to the their own checklist and tag them and save. So automatically they will be notified that they were tagged in one card for the client. So once they check the card, they'll see their part here. So they can then label it as in progress with assigned team and copied to assigned team member. But we will not be copying all this card to the assigned team members board, but we will only copy this checklist, his own checklist, copy to his board. So for example, uh, generals, Roy. automatically you will be seeing the checklist on his Trello board. Once he opens that, he will go through the checklist and label it as in progress with assigned team member and copied to assigned team member. That way, when the VA checks on that specific card, on that specific task, she will see that, okay, this one is still in progress and he got it from my board. Because when we go back to the VA's board, we will see here as a reference, in progress, and copied to assigned team member. That's the purpose why we cannot just totally move one whole card, so that when the VA comes back to her board, she will automatically see what are the cards that are still pending. So let's go back to Roy's card. Once he started with it, he can put in progress. He can tick all the uh, steps in the checklist, and once it's done, he can tag the VA and put all the outputs here. Click send. By tagging the VA, she will be automatically notified that her task is complete. Then Roy will have to change this label from in progress to completed, and from copied to assigned department to returned by assigned team member. And he will not move this whole card back to the VA's board. He will only copy this link, drag this card to complete, go back to VA's card, and comment here. So we will also then change the labels as complete and returned. We will keep this pending in charge because, as what I've said, no one can change the label if it's in charge. Only the person, the owner of the card will be allowed to do change this or to remove this. It's the same as the assigned team member labels. The assigned team member is the only person who can change the labels. So once the VA checks the list, the card, she will automatically see that, okay, it was already completed, and the card is returned back to me, or the checklist together with the output. So when I check, here's the total output, the completed output. If you're going to check it, it will automatically redirect you to the completed card of Roy with all the uh, links and updates. Once the VA see that it's all done, she can then remove all this. Since this specific card comes back to her again, it was returned back to her. So as soon as the card is back to VA's board, labels must be on clean slate, except for urgent and pending or still working. Old cards must be transferred to archive list and use the updated card moving forward. So now that this is the updated one, We will just remove this because um, this was given back to us as a VA. So now it's all clear. We double check the output. It's all good. All we need to do is just wait for the client to approve the output and wait and once he approved it, and if there's no revision, we can start working on posting the code cards. So once we are done posting all the code cards, we can then transfer this as posted and remove the pending label. Sorry. That's it. So there is what if there is revisions for the code cards that we submitted to the client? So the client will automatically inform you that I don't like this, I want this to be changed. So we will put here as comment the revisions. Here's the instruction, and tag the person who is in charge of doing the code cards. And add a label for revision. Move this back to your Instagram list, and as soon as the assigned person uh, sees the notification, he will then go to your board and check on that specific card. So the process will still be the same. Once he checked on the comments, he can change the labels in progress, copied to assigned team member, and go back to the previous card and made the changes from there. Move this back to work in progress, change the label as in progress, and copy to assigned team member. Save. So once he's done with all the revisions, we will again comment here, revisions done. Send. Change the label as complete and returned to team member. Returned by team member. Copy the card. Again, copy the cards. Move to complete. And comment it back. So when the VA notified again that it's done, sorry, person in charge needs to remove this one. add completed, copied, add returned by. So when the VA checks her board, she can see that it's already completed and returned back to her. So once it's done, she will double check the final output, remove this one, remove this returned, and wait for approval again. So once there's no revisions anymore, you can start posting, and when it's all done and posted, you can remove this label as for revision, so they can start posting. And once it's all done and then all code cards were posted, you can just transfer this as posted, and that's it, complete. Then every week we will be cleaning our posted area or posted list, and we will be transferring everything to archive so we can start a fresh posted card or posted list every start of the week. And every month we will review all the archives, and we will transfer all the important information to a spreadsheet as our logbook, something like that. So that's the whole process of using Trello.